From WKYT Podcast, this is Uniquely Kentucky. I'm your host, Amber Philpott. Hello, podcast listeners. I hope this week finds you doing well and continuing to be healthy at home. When COVID-19 hit, I don't think any of us could have imagined what life would be like these days. But here we are. And if you are like me, you are probably longing for those things that you once loved that have had to be put on hold right now so that we can all stay safe. For me, one of those things is sports, and namely this time of year, it's golf. I love the PGA. I love following golf. I dream of a day when I could walk the course of the Masters. For now, all of that will have to wait. So to get my golf fix, I turned to a fellow Morehead State Eagle and PGA player, Josh Teater. He was just ahead of me in school, and through mutual friends, I've gotten to know Josh over the years, and more importantly, follow his career in professional golf. Teater grew up here in Lexington, played at Morehead State, and then turned pro in 2001. He has been grinding it out, now having moved around on different tours. He saw one of his best career performances on the course back in February, having come down the stretch and was barely edged out of the Puerto Rico Open. He and his wife, Ashley, and his kids are staying healthy at home these days down in St. Simon's Island, Georgia. Now, when we sat down to talk, you're going to hear us mention the Barbasol Championship. We actually learned a day later after our conversation that it's been canceled for this year. As always, bear with us here on Uniquely Kentucky because we are now recording these via video chat. So the audio might not be as good as it could, but I appreciate you sticking with us.
Uniquely Kentucky with Amber Philpott is brought to you by the WKYT News and Weather apps, available on the App Store and Google Play.
Josh Teater, welcome to Uniquely Kentucky. How are you holding up these days as we are in, I don't even know what week of this now in this pandemic?
Yeah, thanks, Amber. Thanks for having me. I'm holding up pretty good. Pretty good to be home. I haven't been home this long since high school, I don't think. So, to be home and be with the kids and be with Ashley and just kind of be here every day to try to help out as much as I can.
I have known you for a long time, and I've always wanted to do this sit-down conversation, but getting time with you is difficult. So I figured this was the best time to try to catch you at home. I see that you guys are just doing a lot of family things. I see there's a lot of some outdoor pitching going on in the yard, a little bit of little kid baseball going on. What's keeping you all busy these days?
Yeah, other than about the last 3 days, our weather down here in St. Simon's has been amazing. So we've been able to get outside and we've played baseball every which way we can in the backyard. And, we've pretty much got a base pass in the grass back there by now. But trying to get something out there every Sunday night for Sunday night baseball and bike rides every day. And, we got golf clubs out there. We're trying to chip into buckets and trying to keep a little bit of keep my golf under me a little bit so I can be ready whenever we start back. Got a net in our garage to hit in.
Sure. You were coming off an incredible run, right before this, the Puerto Rico Open. Man, what a finish for you, Josh. Talk to me about that. That was back in February. You were runner-up, and down the stretch, it was a miserable day for play on that Sunday, but what a great finish for you in that tournament. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, that was, one of my best tournaments, to date on the PGA Tour. Solo second finish. Victor Hovland made a great putt on the last hole to take me down, but it was great. Couldn't have come at a better time, I don't think. Back and I'm in a pretty solid position where I wasn't right before that. So, it was a great time. I've been down there 6 or 7 times to play and never really done very well there. But for some reason, everything went pretty good that week. I putted well, and usually my game is always around putting. If I'm putting good, I'm going to have plenty of opportunities. And
I have to imagine when you come out of play like that, your mindset is so right. You're ready for the next round of golf. And then not too long after that is when kind of everything, kind of came to a grinding halt. What's that like for you when you feel like you're in that momentum and then it just stops?
It's in a way, it was a little bit of a relief. I wasn't playing in the next tournament I did play at the Honda because of my finish, but I didn't get into Bay Hill or the Players. So I knew I was off for a couple weeks anyway, so it's just kind of gone on to be longer. We got a guest here. We got Bane. He came in to hit some putts, I guess.
I can't believe how big Bane is these days. How old is
I
he?
know. He's 5.
Hey, Bane.
Hi.
So that should lead me to my next question.
Yeah.
If he's coming in to do some putting, is golf in his future?
I don't know. He seems interested in other sports than he does golf. We haven't got out there much, but when we do, he likes to hit it pretty hard. And his little brother, though, Brooks, he seems more interested in golf at this point. He's got his club in the backyard for a good hour a day, just smacking them around.
That's awesome. I didn't realize until after you did an interview after Puerto Rico, and the reporter says to you, you've been knocking around now almost 2 decades. I didn't realize, Josh, that we were that old and that you had really been at this now almost 20 years. Can you believe that?
Yeah. She kind of, I think I got pretty emotional about that, and probably am here again, but the reasons is because of what she said. It's just hard to believe it's been that long, but it doesn't seem like it when you're out there doing it every day. But when somebody brings that to your attention, you're kind of like, wow. It wasn't anything that had to do with, hey, this is your last chance or whatever. I feel like there's plenty more opportunities out there, but just to kind of open my eye at that point that, hey, that's been 18 years since kind of kicked this off.
Talk to me about golf, Josh. Golf has always kind of been a part of your life. I know other sports were a part of your life. You played at Morehead State, but I had read that you really credited the Larry Gilbert Junior Golf Program for kind of putting your game kind of in a path of where you might go later on in life. Where did that come into your life for you?
Let's see. I was a basketball player like every kid in Kentucky. Then baseball was my big sport through high school, up until probably my senior year of high school. And that's kind of when I decided, hey, I'm going to try golf. And, some of the guys from Cynthiana, with Kevin Letcher and John Hatfield had gone up to Morehead. I'd played a lot with those guys, so that kind of led me there. But golf kind of started with my mom started dating who's now my stepdad, and they played a lot. And at first, it was on TV in the house, and I didn't care for it. But at some point, I looked down at the range, and I was kind of like, well, I think I can do that. So about my 12th birthday, I got some clubs, and some friends started playing about that same time, and kind of just playing with my friends and playing with my mom and stepdad. I just kept doing it and kept doing it. Didn't really interfere with my baseball because when baseball season was going, the golf clubs were in the closet, but that's kind of how I got into it, and here we are today, still playing.
I know golf has taken you so many places. When you stop and think about it, and it's been this number of years, can you really wrap your head around the fact that you've been grinding it out this long and that you've been afforded a lot of the opportunities that you've been able to have in your life because of golf?
Yeah, sitting right here, probably not. It's taken me places that, I never would have gone, and places that I still don't know where I'm going to go. To go from Lexington to Morehead and then, be able to travel the world and play all over the country and some of the greatest courses in the world, meet some of the greatest people. I played with the CEO of Wendy's a few months ago back at Pebble Beach, and we stayed in touch. Looks like we're going to have a good friendship. Yeah, those are just kind of things that kind of pop in my head right away.
You strike me as a guy because I'm like this with my job. I'm a small town gal. I realize how incredible life has been able to be for me, and I really take something away from almost every single moment or person that I meet. And you strike me as someone that kind of does that too with your career and in golf.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not just about playing the game or that day. It's about who you're running into and who you're meeting and what experiences you can, experience along the way. It may only be one time I go to New Zealand like I did in 2009, but I bungee jumped. So, you know, where else? We went to Scotland for the British Open in 2013. So went early enough to see the old course and to see some sights. Who knows if we'll go back. So the plan is to, but you never know. So enjoy it where you are.
So here's some questions that I've been asked to ask you because inquiring minds want to know. So for the PGA, take me through what's like a normal week for you as you're trying to get prepared for an event, because there's a lot of travel involved. There's a lot of, pieces and parts. So what does it take to get to actual play when you start playing up before all that play starts?
Yeah, so I'll just kind of make it pretty simple, but Monday is usually a travel day. Can maybe be on Sunday and get in late Sunday night, but Monday is kind of a slow day. Maybe an hour or two of just kind of getting your feet under you, get your locker set, doing some putting. Maybe if you're working on a certain club like a driver that you're trying to get tuned in, you may spend a little time on the range. And then Tuesday's a pretty full day. The course is open to all practice rounds. So depending on whether I'm in the Pro-Am on Wednesday or not, I'll play at 9 or 18 usually. And then Wednesday is either the Pro-Am or 2 or 3 hours worth of practice, just kind of getting dialed in for what you're going to see on the course that week. And then obviously Thursday through Sunday is the tournament. And a lot of that is just, playing and conserving energy and, being ready to have your best come down the stretch on Sunday.
Okay, so the inquiring mind that wants to know these questions is one Steve Hill that just happens to be my husband. He always wants to know, who is in charge of your clubs? Is that all on you? Is that on Lee Cheney, who carries your bags? Who gets the clubs that are the most important thing to the course?
Well, most of the time they have club storage at the course. So there's a little like locker room we can put them in and leave them there, or at times we take them back to the hotel and keep them with us. So all of the above is the correct answer, I guess. Some weeks Lee will take them to his hotel, and sometimes I'll keep them in my hotel, but we try to leave them at the course when we can.
Sure. We're talking about Lee Cheney. He is a good friend of yours for many years and now is on the bag for you. What's it like traveling tournaments and playing golf with Lee?
Pretty crazy. I guess 1997, when I went to Morehead, he was about 10 years old, which is pretty crazy. And his dad was my coach, and he was always around, just kind of getting in our way. But he's loved the game of golf from the day he could walk, and he tried to play in 6 or 7 years on the mini tours, and never did make it. And I kind of convinced him to start caddying, and I don't know if he thanks me for that or not, but it's kept us together and grown a friendship.
What have you learned from Lee, and what have you maybe been able to teach him? Is it a twofold kind of friendship out there on the course that way in terms of play?
Yeah, for sure. I kind of been around for 6 or 7, 8 years out there before he showed up, and so I've been able to kind of coach him along and teach him to, hey, follow this caddy. He's been out here for 20 years. He knows what he's doing, and pick up some information from him and things like that, and kind of help him with trying to find places to stay and people to stay with. But on the other hand, he's helping me with my golf swing and been able to instruct me with that, and feel like I've made some strides in with my swing in the last 3 or 4 years since he's been helping me.
Josh, where's your most favorite place to play golf?
Pebble Beach is my favorite place. I mean, obviously, if the weather's perfect out there, there's no better place. Even on a bad day, it's a good spot.
Who on the tour have you come to, have a friendship with, guys that, you're really close to on the tour right now?
Yeah, we have a lot of guys that live here to Sea Island area who I play a lot with, Jonathan Bird, Zach Johnson a little bit, and then Patton Kazire and Harris English. But I guess one of the guys is kind of ironic is a Duke fan. Adam Long. He grew up in St. Louis, and then he went to Duke. So he doesn't really know much about Duke back in the day, but
I'm sure you tell him about it as much as you can, right?
Well, yeah. Well, funny story. I showed up to stay at his house for a qualifier one time. He lives down in Florida. And he shows me to my guest room, and there's a picture on the pillow. It's Christian Laettner after he hit the shot. I'm like, I don't know if I can like this guy, but no, we go back and forth against each other with jokes, and but it's an all good fun.
One of the things that I love about the PGA and the tour is obviously we're huge golf fans, but I love how much the PGA gives back. And I know that that is something that is important to you and to Ashley. So talk to me about that part of the game and being able to be a part of the PGA and giving back at all the different stops that you guys make.
Yeah, it's one of the main reasons, one of the good things we can do is give back. We've been very blessed with everything we've been able to get through the tour, and to be able to help out there around Lexington with some young life stuff and other things that we kind of like to give back to as well. And then Ashley's involved with the PGA Tour Wives Association, and each stop they have different events. One being here, they help out with Blessings in the Backpack with a wiffle ball game, and kids get to come out and play. And then I think New Orleans is a big hit with them. It's kind of tough not being able to go to those events this year. So, yeah, it's one of the perks of it for sure. And it's given me a lot, so there's no reason we can't give back.
Absolutely. We were all waiting for Ashley to be able to run out down there at Puerto Rico and have you win and have her run out and give you a big hug. We were waiting on that for sure. Yeah. Was she ready for that?
Well, that might have been the reason I didn't win, because they were at home. They weren't
I figured
down
they
there,
might be.
Yeah. So maybe we'll have to wait for next time when they're all there.
Well, I read that there's a little bit of a curse with that a lot of those guys that have gone on to win, they don't really win again. But a lot of the guys that have been those runner-up guys then get some really good wins, and like a Jordan Spieth and some other guys like that have really done well. Have you thought about that?
I had no idea about that. Somebody kind of brought that to my attention the next week, but I would have loved to have been the first guy to go on and win somewhere else.
Yeah, right. How are you? I know you've been going out, you've been hitting some in the garage, but for whenever this is lifted and whenever you can get back to golf, how are you trying to stay not only mentally ready, but also physically ready? What's the regimen? What are you doing?
I'm trying to get out. Our courses are still open here, so I've gotten out a couple times a week and walked and played, and maybe only 9 holes, but just kind of staying in form, and then trying to stay active and keep having a few workouts. Ashley's putting me through a few workouts in the yard and on the driveway, but I've ran and jogged a few times here and there, just trying to read, trying to keep my mind working. Watching some old golf that's on TV occasionally, just to kind of familiarize myself with where we're going. Some of the courses we'll keep seeing, and we're playing PlayStation golf. I guess that's part trying to keep that
coordination, right?
Yeah.
The Barbasol, again, none of us really know what's going to happen down the road, but how special was that for you to be able to come home and play in the Barbasol and be here at home with a lot of family and friends that could come and literally walk the course with you?
Yeah, I mean, that's been a great addition. I feel like, the first year I was on the Corn Ferry Tour when it was there in Lexington, but I was able to play on an exemption, and very grateful for that. And played last year. Obviously the goal is to be at the Open Championship, which it's opposite, which has been canceled this year, which we know nothing about what's going to happen this year. But it's great. I mean, I love being there. Anything that brings me back to Lexington is always great. So hopefully it's there for years to come, and hopefully that event can grow and become its own date on the calendar, and maybe get a bigger and better field, and
Absolutely.
Just keep growing.
You are a huge UK fan, I know, despite being a Morehead guy. How awful was it not to have any basketball this year to watch?
Yeah, it was. I get a lot of grief for that from some people, but my response is I grew up before I could walk. I was a Kentucky fan, so still root for Morehead, but you know, it was tough not being able to watch basketball. We were all ready for it. We actually took a trip down to Gainesville and watched that final game that they actually played before everything got canceled. A big comeback, but kind of glad we did that. It kind of maybe took a little bit of the damper away from not being able to watch March Madness. But yeah, I mean everything's been taken away. Any kind of sports that could be put on TV right now, I think would be well accepted by all fans.
I feel like every day we've had a different cat say that he's now declaring for the NBA. What's your thoughts on now looking forward to whenever basketball is going to return and whatever we might have on the court?
Yeah, I was down at the end of my street today. Got our neighbor, he's a Florida fan. He said, "Y'all are going to need to have a JV team. All your players are leaving." I'm like, "Yeah, each day someone new." I mean, I obviously always trust Cal and who he's bringing in and how it's all going to work together. And I'm just going to be thankful and watch whenever we can watch again.
If people were listening, I guess earlier this week, I think it was, KSR had on a guest that was someone that got a lot of play because of you. Are you sitting at home watching just countless episodes of The Office? Or I'm assuming you're a huge Office fan.
I am, yeah. I'm not watching them, no. More of Spirit we're watching on Netflix or any Disney Plus show. Hardly getting to choose what we're watching, but I would love to watch that, go back through it. And I actually just got word of the Office Ladies podcast, which is two of the characters, Pam and Angela on there have a podcast. They're kind of going through each episode and breaking it down and giving you facts about stuff that we didn't know about the episode. So it'd be a good time to catch up on all that. But yeah, Andy Buckley, we met in the airport in 2010, and we stayed in touch. I mean, he texts me probably a couple times a week, the weeks I'm playing, just kind of encouraging. And they were trying to do that book a guest week, and I connected them. And he was on there yesterday, and I think he did a pretty good job. Had everybody laugh a little bit.
That's awesome. Josh, just a few more questions. I know that one of the things that I love about you is your faith is huge in your life. You make no bones about it. How important is that with the grind that you're on when you are actively playing and keeping your faith in front of everything? Because I know that's so important to you.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's the most important thing. No matter if we're playing golf or, whatever job we have, Christ died for us, and he's got us in his arms. And we just celebrated Easter, and just kind of a reminder that hey, he's got us through this deal we're going through right now, and there's no test that he's not going to endure. So I think a lot of times I make golf way more important than it is, and I got to step back and thank him for the good times and the bad times, because that's going to kind of tell who I am.
Josh, what are you looking forward to most? As soon as they say this is lifted, we can get back to life as normal. What's the thing that you're looking forward to the most?
That's a good question. I think just kind of being able to take our family and be able to go into a restaurant and sit down and have a meal, and get us all on an airplane to be able to go to a tournament. But who knows? Those are kind of the couple things that come to mind, and when will those happen? We don't know.
Have you heard anything about anything that was upcoming for you?
I mean, there's supposedly a meeting yesterday, and an article came out from Golf Digest last night about potential schedule, but I mean, I don't know if any of that is true. I do expect to hear something from the tour here in the next day or so. following the meeting they had yesterday. They kind of had those meetings a couple times, and each time, a day or two after, we get an email with an update. And, it's all kind of a plan that hopefully can work out, and we'll just have to kind of be patient and see if it does.
Well, I turned 40 this year, and the Masters is the lead up week to my 40th birthday. I feel like that's a pretty good gift to me, at least, if it happens, you know?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, Josh, buddy, I appreciate your time, and you guys stay safe down there, and we look forward to the day that we can see you back out on the golf course and playing a good round of golf.
All right. Thanks, Amber. Thanks for having me.